A new season brings new hopes and expectations. It also brings new faces for every program across the country. For Hubert Davis in his fourth season, it's the first time he'll be without Armando Bacot. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us here in the Smith Center alongside 2009 national champion Marcus Ginyard. I'm Kyle Stroud. Losing Armando Bacot is a big set of shoes to fill, literally and figuratively.
Absolutely. Armando Bacot was such a presence on the offense and on defense, but also off the court. Just a big personality to have to fill.
R.J. Davis, one guy that is coming back for North Carolina, and that is going to be key both on and off the court for the leadership part.
Absolutely. We're going to have to expect that R.J. Davis steps up to even more of a leadership role, obviously averaging 21 points a game last season. He's going to be expected to score, but just lead this team more than anything.
Hubert and his staff hit the transfer portal hard. They hit the recruiting trail hard. They brought in some big names that they're hoping can replace some of those that were lost. But there's also the wrinkle of they retained some players, and you're going to see some growth, hopefully, they're hoping, from guys like Jalen Withers, Jalen Washington, and Seth Trimble.
And Elliot Cadeau as well, who's also on the court right now. I think that Hubert Davis is really expecting all of those guys to continue to get better, continue to expand their game and be more of a presence and an impact on this basketball team.
Last year, Carolina 29-8 overall. They went 17-3 in the ACC, making it all the way to the ACC title game, and then had the season come to an end in the Sweet 16. Davis almost from straight away, knocks down a three.
And there it is early, Kyle. Obviously, we're going to expect to see R.J. Davis score the basketball, but I think just imposing his will and making sure that he is felt on this basketball court for this North Carolina basketball team is super important.
21 a season ago for R.J. as he gets the first three, and this is the known for North Carolina. R.J. is going to get his. Where does the rest of it come from, though?
That's the big question, Kyle. Where is the other production coming? I think on the interior is the biggest question mark for North Carolina. I think North Carolina's got great guard play, including R.J. Davis, of course. But what's going to happen on the inside is what I'm curious about.
Trimble caught in the corner, able to keep possession as he throws it out off of a Johnson C. Smith player. Golden Bulls last year, 14-12, 9-9 in the CIAA. Biggest story for them, though, in the offseason and coming into this year is it's the first time in 36 years they've got a new head coach.
Well, Coach Banks talked about how it's going to be a challenge for these players to buy into his new thought process after having a coach be there for so long and leave. But I know that he's excited to have these players out here on the court and try to build his program out.
A little chirping. Technical just given to Johnson C. Smith. That was Ashtel Sherrill. Hit the shot, turned around, had some words for the Carolina bench.
Kyle, this is something that I don't love from the referees. I know they want to try to control the game, but I think that a little bit of talking, a little bit of jabber is all part of the game, part of the competition. I'd love to let them see that go.
RJ going to take the free throws for Carolina. 87% last year, which is just a little bit better than his career, which is 86. He'll make both. Mentioned it's the first time in 36 years for a new coach for the Golden Bulls. Stephen Joyner Sr. is the man who was there for such a long time and retired this offseason. 600 wins in his career, which is third most in CIAA history.
Incredible career for Coach Joyner. Wishing him all the best in retirement.
There's Washington with a little pull up from mid-range, leaves it short. Quickly back the other way. Attacking is Kennedy. A three on the way is good. That's from Davis. Sophomore out of Fayetteville.
And already North Carolina looking like they're having a little bit of trouble containing the basketball, a problem that they had in the Memphis game as well.
Transfer for the Tar Heels. Cade Tyson knocks down a corner three.
You talked earlier, Kyle, about the transfers, and Cade Tyson is definitely one to keep our eyes on here. Great three-point shooter.
Transfer from Belmont. They're hoping that he can pick up some of the three-point shooting that they lost from a season ago. both Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan. Little fade away on the baseline, good for Asha White. Early on here, both teams shooting well from the floor, 3 for 4 each.
Johnson C. Smith looking pretty comfortable right now. Coach Banks talked about this a couple of days ago. He just wants his players to come out here and compete.
They even told us before the game, said, let's just play in our system. They can show me a little bit against these guys. We'll be good when we get into our conference.
Well, they know that this is going to be the toughest team that they face all year. And to your point, Kyle, if there's an ability for them to execute to a certain level and to get some things done in this game versus a North Carolina basketball team, they'll feel good about going into their season.
Carolina comes up empty on that possession as the Golden Bulls will bring it down the court. Another tune-up for them against Queens on the 29th before they start their season on the 8th of November. Nice screen, good job by Davis to get around it. Anderson off the mark, and there's a rebound for Washington. See the pace with Trimble pushing it up the floor. Carolina, a smaller lineup without Bacot, without Ingram, but it gives you more guard play, more speed on the perimeter.
Right, and you see that speed on display right there as Elliot Cadeau gets to the rim and finishes. Kyle, I think it's interesting to be able to play small and play fast, but ultimately I think that size can still be an issue for this North Carolina basketball team.
The mark, it'll be Carolina possession. Elliot Cadeau in his second season for Carolina was an impressive freshman last year. The question is, can he improve the shooting?
And I think he can, and I think he has, but ultimately his being that dangerous in the paint creates so many different opportunities for his teammates and will ultimately create those same opportunities for himself to shoot the basketball.
Coming in as a freshman, drew a lot of comparisons to Ed Cota, Kendall Williams, or Kendall Marshall, a couple of the better passing guards Carolina has ever seen, but he's also shown the offensive ability. There's the vision.
There's the vision, Kyle. From the floor, scramble situations, still able to make the right play and make a beautiful pass to Ben Allen Lubin.
Another transfer for Carolina out of Vanderbilt, a junior. Lubin going to be expected, I think, to pick up some more of the minutes on the defensive side of things. He's the bigger body that Carolina has as he puts this one down for Carolina. A little bit of separation as we head to the first media timeout here in Chapel Hill. You play basketball in Chapel Hill, it's never rebuild, it's always reload. And Hubert Davis and his staff, they hit the recruiting trail hard this season. Here's 3 of the big freshmen they brought in.
Well, you see this, you got 3 freshmen in the top 70, 2 in the top 15. These are players that are going to be expected to make a big impact early.
Not just the freshmen, though. You've got to be able to go and navigate the transfer portal. Carolina kept players from leaving this year, but also got a couple of them. We already have seen them both have an impact.
They've both already scored in this game. Cade Tyson, making a 3 here in the corner. Shot 46.5% from 3 last year. I think that puts him second in the NCAA last year, so great additions on both sides.
Early on, Davis with 5 for the Tar Heels as RJ tries the bounce pass off the foot of the defender White. It'll stay with Carolina. Season ago, RJ led Carolina with 21 points a game. For the career, 15 a game for RJ. And it was a little bit of a question mark with the extra year. It was a nice play off the inbounds, rolls off, but coming off of last year, RJ could have chosen to go pro, could have gone into the transfer portal, but said, nope, I want to come back. I want 1 more year here at Carolina. That had to have been the biggest get of all of them for Hubert.
Absolutely. I think it's a huge win for North Carolina to keep RJ Davis. Just his ability to impact the game in so many different ways. You talked about his leadership earlier, obviously his shooting ability, but his playmaking ability. And honestly, Kyle, I don't think enough people talk about his defensive ability as well. Just such a huge part of this basketball team.
Pushing the pace, gets it to the freshman, little Euro step, kicks it out. Here's Powell from the corner. Good ball movement there from Carolina in transition, just couldn't finish.
I think that's a great sign for North Carolina to see the ball move in the way that we just watched. getting to the basket with Ian Jackson attacking the rim, kicking it out, extra pass. Still a great shot that Drake Powell just didn't knock down.
Switch on the screen up top. Carolina doing a good job on the perimeter. Deep three. It's good. Javion Kennedy, the senior. Not a lot of returners for the Golden Bulls this season. He's one, though.
Well, you talked about North Carolina doing a great job on the perimeter right before he knocked down that three.
Withers just giving him a little bit too much room there, and he pulled the trigger.
And Ford Cooper's one that Coach Banks talked about in our conversation a couple days ago as somebody to watch out for.
RJ resets the offense. Two freshmen out there, Powell and Jackson for Carolina. As a freshman, what's the biggest adjustment or the hardest thing to do coming into the college game?
I think the biggest adjustment, Kyle, is really the speed. The speed in which the players are playing, but also the speed in which you need to make decisions, right? And I also believe that the size and physicality of the basketball game is just a step higher than in high school. But I think that all of these freshmen will have a tremendous amount of, they will be able to handle this. It will take some time, but I don't think they'll have any problem.
The junior transfer out of Vanderbilt, Lubin, at the line. Originally from Orlando, Florida. Leaves the first one short, as Elliot Cadeau will check back in.
And as we talk about North Carolina and their interior presence, Lubin is going to be very, very important. Averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds in the SEC last season. North Carolina is going to need someone with that experience to play big-time minutes here in the ACC.
Not the tallest guy on the roster, but probably the biggest body guy out there. Listed at 6'8", but 230. Cadeau, Powell, Jackson, Lubin, and Withers on the floor for Carolina. Williams, Cooper, Bumbre, White, and Sherrill for the Golden Bulls. White knocks that one down. He's got a couple. Johnson C. Smith hanging around, just down by 2 here. Good job by Powell to draw the contact.
Great finish through the contact. Didn't think twice about it, caught the ball, attacked the basket, and was able to finish.
Freshman out of Pittsburgh, so Hubert and the staff able to keep him home. Picks up the block here. He's calling for it right back from Cadeau.
And what you saw right there on display, Kyle, is just his ability to impact the game on both sides of the court. Scores at the basket on one end, gets a block on the other end.
Good look in and out for Powell. It's back the other way. Pull-up jumper, knocks it down. Good shot there from Williams.
I know it's early, but again, Johnson C. Smith looks very comfortable out there, at least on offense.
Great give and go there. Cadeau just slipped the pass through.
Elite vision. That's all I'm going to say about that, elite vision.
Talked about the adjustment that a freshman has to make. Cadeau went through that last year, and as a young freshman, now as a sophomore, kind of have a little bit bigger eyes out there on the court, right? It's a little bit easier.
And Coach Davis talked about that as well, just having the ability to understand how defenses are going to play you, slowing the game down, running the offense, just looking at things very differently after having a year underneath your belt.
Jackson off on the three. Carolina can't come down with the board. One of the big things that is going to be I don't know if it's a concern, but a point of emphasis for Carolina without Ingram, without Bacot. It's not just the scoring, but it's the rebounding.
Well, I think rebounding might be the most important thing when you're thinking about how a basketball team is going to gauge their success throughout the year. How do they rebound the basketball? And losing the #1 and #2 rebounders on your team is very difficult to make up for. But Coach Davis also talked about the fact that everybody's got the responsibility to box out. Everybody's got the responsibility to rebound. It's a team effort.
Jackson stepped on the line. It's going to go back to Johnson C. Smith. But when we come back from the break, Cadeau showing off the vision on a nice little slip pass and a jam for Lubin. It's just a 1-point lead for North Carolina, and in the timeout, Hubert Davis getting animated with his team. And we're looking at some of the stats here, Marcus. Carolina with just 1 offensive rebound and 0 second chance points. That's not what you're typically used to watching the Tar Heels.
Definitely not. And I can imagine Coach Davis is telling his team they need to attack the glass. We just talked about it a minute ago. Rebounding is such an important aspect to winning basketball games. And North Carolina, with their size against Johnson C. Smith, has to do a better job.
Tar Heels shooting 46% from the floor so far, but not really limiting the Golden Bulls. They're shooting 50% themselves, and more importantly, it's 4 of 8 from deep.
And that's another thing Coach Davis can't be happy about right now. North Carolina known to put pressure on other teams, known to speed other teams up, make them shoot poor percentages from the field, and that is not the case right now.
Out of the timeout, Carolina going with Cadeau, Trimble, Powell, Jackson, and Washington out on the floor. Williams, Cooper, Bumbrae, Sherrill, Davis for the Golden Bulls. Williams leading the way for Johnson C. Smith so far with 5. Davis gets down low, can't get it to go. Carolina out in transition. Trimble.
And that's not only what North Carolina does best, but that's what Seth Trimble can do best. Getting out in transition and finishing in the mix of a lot of bodies.
We talked about the transfer portal and Carolina going and getting a couple bodies, but didn't lose anyone. Seth Trimble went into the portal, but not something you see often. Said, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to stay here.
Only took him 3 weeks to make that decision, and I think it was a great one. Gives himself an opportunity to come back to a team, have a huge impact.
Take another look at this one. Vintage Carolina, even though you've got a freshman that's running that one.
And so now you've seen 3 different occasions where Drake Powell's had a great impact on the game. Scoring the basketball, block shot, and now an assist in transition.
Washington going to get called for the illegal screen. Never set his feet.
And that's a little bit on Elliot Cadeau as well. Both of those guys, Elliot Cadeau and Jalen Washington, have to be more in tune, have to be patient, let Jalen Washington get set.
Just the second turnover against Carolina here in this first half. Here's Williams working against Powell. Kennedy looking for some room. Haven't really seen the Golden Bulls get into the paint much. It's a drive and kick. Can't get it to go, but an offensive rebound is good for Davis. First one for the Golden Bulls.
Johnson C. Smith is doing exactly what I would imagine North Carolina wants to do. Attack the paint, kick it out.
Trimble keeps his feet and kisses it off the glass.
Let me tell you, I'm a little dizzy right now watching that spin move. But Seth Trimble just displaying his ability to get to the basket, finish with bodies.
Pace picking up a little bit here. Washington deep, and he's going to go to the foul line. Davis whistled for the foul. Another look at Seth Trimble using that screen, and you said dizzy, he said no problem.
He put that guy in a spin cycle for sure. A great finish by Seth Trimble. He's done a tremendous job of just improving day by day. Obviously his ball handling ability, his ability to finish at the rim. We've seen his athleticism skying high above the rim, but I think plays like that are things that you're going to continue to see more and more of from Seth Trimble.
Washington knocks down the first one, 64% from the free throw line a season ago. And Jalen is an interesting player because he's a guy who came in with a lot of hype. Coach Davis said back when he was a freshman, he's the best shooting big he had ever seen at that age. I think last year was the first year you saw him actually healthy, and you saw more minutes as the season went on.
And we know that he's got great touch for his size. We've seen him score the basketball from outside. We saw in the Memphis game, 17 points. Again, what's this presence going to be like on the interior? We know that he can shoot the basketball, but I think ultimately North Carolina is going to need him to be effective inside the paint in order for this team to find success.
Gonna get whistled for the foul as that one falls for Sherrill, and he's going to go to the free throw line. Withers into the body. Johnson C. Smith continuing to hang around here in this first half.
I think it all comes down to defense. Kyle, I think North Carolina has just not done a great job of keeping Johnson C. Smith out of the paint and away from the rim.
Overall, the Golden Bulls 9 of 19 from the floor. Sherrill finishes off the three-point play, and it's a two-point game. Cadeau across midcourt. Cadeau going to take it all the way himself, and he's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, we've certainly seen no surprises. Elliot Cadeau and his ability to attack the basket, especially on his right hand, getting to the basket, the speed, and his ability to finish through the contact. Again, he's going to be one of the most important players on this basketball team. Obviously, one of the great guards that North Carolina has this season. Just his continued growth, as Coach Davis talked about, is going to be such a huge upside for this team.
Finishes off the three-point play as Coach Davis gets a couple of subs in. James Brown, another one of those freshmen, into the game for the first time out of Aurora, Illinois. Sherrill loses the dribble. Davis picks it up. He's got Trimble with him. A lob for Trimble. What finish.
Not only was that a great catch, Kyle, but that was also a great finish. Got bumped in the air, was able to maintain his balance, and still finish with the left hand, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a two-point game, but 5 straight from Carolina. They're out and running here in Chapel Hill. Carolina getting the offense going a little bit, forcing the Golden Bulls into a timeout. And last tune-up for Carolina before games start counting against the record. And as always, a tough non-conference schedule for Carolina.
Well, I think North Carolina is going to get tested very early, as you can see here with Kansas, Auburn, or Iowa State, Alabama, which is going to be a phenomenal rematch, from last year's NCAA tournament. I think it's important to get battle tested early, have all your players have that opportunity to face stiff competition, and really put yourself in position to continue to grow throughout the year.
You see down there could face the 2-time defending national champs in UConn, and that was a game last year Carolina had early, ended up losing, but kind of, I think, showed that team that they're on that same level.
Exactly. Great barometer for where they are as a basketball team. Much like Johnson C. Smith today is coming into this game and saying, how do we stack up against this level of competition? Those games that you just saw are going to be the same for North Carolina.
Well, full court pressure here from the Golden Bulls. Kennedy escorts Davis across midcourt. RJ to the left hand and finishes off the glass. I think Carolina's starting to find the equation, which is attack the basket.
Attack the basket. And great finish by RJ Davis, but great screen by James Brown.
7 in the game for Davis. Trimble leads the way for Carolina with 8. A 3 from Anderson off the back iron. Johnson C. Smith 0 for their last 3 from beyond the arc after starting 4 for 8. First game for North Carolina. It's right before that Kansas game that you had seen on the graphic. It's going to be November 4th against Elon here in Chapel Hill. Davis finishes maybe through a little contact, no whistle though.
And again, I want to highlight the screen from James Brown. RJ Davis talked a lot about James Brown and his ability on the basketball court, his willingness to want to learn as a youngster, and it's great to see him and RJ teaming up on that pick and roll.
We've talked so much about size for Carolina and where it was going to come from. He's actually listed as the tallest player at 6'10" for the Tar Heels.
It's going to be a lot of different guys. It's not just going to be James Brown. It's not going to be Jalen Withers. It's not going to be Jalen Washington. It's going to be everybody together. Cade Tyson's going to be thrown in the mix in that 4 or 5 spot as well. They're going to have to work together to really build that presence on the inside.
Turnover on the inbound play. Trimble takes it away. Let's slow things up as Carolina gets into the half court. Tar Heels field goal percentage up to 62% in the game.
It looks like they're getting a little bit more comfortable out there, starting to execute better, playing better defense, turning Johnson C. Smith over, all the things that you would expect from this North Carolina basketball team.
3 turnovers in the last minute 44 for Johnson C. Smith. It's helped Carolina go on a 9-0 run here. And it's the first time we've seen some separation between the two teams. Davis back to the free throw line for the second time this afternoon. 1-1 makes the front end. There's Antoine Banks, first-year head coach for Johnson C. Smith. Spent the last 3 years as an assistant at IUPUI.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, this is his first head coaching job in 10 years.
Yeah. And going back to the assistant ranks for a while until this job opened up, and thought it was a good time to jump back into the head coaching ranks. A little floater that's going to be good for Cooper. Grad transfer out of Charlotte.
And Cooper spent some time in the SEC playing at South Carolina. This is somebody that Coach Banks sees as a veteran on this team and somebody that he's going to have to rely on for leadership.
Able to step back, set up, and still comes up empty.
That's something that you don't see. Exactly. You're not going to see that often. I can imagine that'll be one of maybe 2 or 3 air balls you'll see of R.J. Davis this season.
You could see the smile on his face. That's one he knows he'll hear about afterwards. Cooper with the left hand. He's going to be blocked by Tyson. And it will stay with the Golden Bulls, though. Tyson using all 6-7 of the frame.
Great job by Kay Tyson. Tracking that down.
That James Brown right there for some help as well.
Exactly.
The biggest lineup we've seen for Carolina so far today. Withers with Brown and Tyson, 2 guards, Jackson and Davis.
And speaking of lineups, Kyle, I think we're going to see a lot of different lineups today. I think that's one of the reasons why North Carolina, and anybody for that matter, wants to play these exhibition games. As you see Jalen Withers knocking a 3 down from the top of the key. They have so many different weapons, and I think one of the biggest things for North Carolina is their versatility and being able to put a lot of different guys in a lot of different positions. So I think we're going to see a lot of that this afternoon.
Withers not known for his 3-point shooting. Just a 20% shooter from beyond the arc last year, but you get one straight away.
Well, Kyle, Jalen hasn't shot the ball well at North Carolina, but if I'm not mistaken, at Louisville was a 40% 3-point shooter.
For his career, a 35% 3-point shooter Withers has been. And is that, do you think, maybe a rhythm thing? Not enough minutes continuously last year sitting behind Bacot?
I think there's a lot of different factors that we can talk about. Rhythm, you know, your role, a lot of different things. But ultimately, it hasn't been there for him. But I will say Jalen's done a phenomenal job of finding other ways to impact the basketball game.
Withers averaged about 12.5 points last year as Tyson knocks down both of them. Pushes the Carolina lead to 16, which is the biggest so far. Powell going to check back in. Cooper brings it across half court. He's got 5 so far for the Golden Bulls. White, Sherrill, Williams, and Anderson out there on the court with him. Anderson with the shot, long 2 off the mark. Powell with the rebound, going to take it all the way himself, leaves it off. Lubin just couldn't get the handle on it.
Lubin not quite ready to handle that pass by Powell, but great vision.
Just a 3rd turnover from Carolina, and it's turned into points as White finishes quickly the other way. Jackson will go to the line. Off the make, Carolina got up the floor in a flash.
Seen a lot of these guards from North Carolina finishing through contact, which I think is a welcome sight to see for Coach Davis and his staff. Talked about size, and having guards that can finish through contact is going to be huge for this team.
First points of the game for Jackson as he misses the and one. Foul on the floor. That's going to go against the Tar Heels. Jackson, the freshman out of the Bronx, came in as the highest ranked recruit for Carolina.
and the highest ranked recruit for Hubert Davis in his time here at North Carolina.
Williams weaves his way through traffic but gets blocked. Here's Cadeau, lob for Jackson. Withers couldn't finish either. Golden Bulls back the other way. 3 from Bumbray.
Seemed like we had everybody there trying to find a way to dunk the basketball.
Powell loses it temporarily, and a foul going to be called. That'll go against White and the Golden Bulls. Davis going to go with a smaller lineup. He'll sub in Trimble for Withers. Leaves Lubin really the only big out there at the moment. Going to be on the floor. Especially since about the 10-minute mark here in this first half, you've seen Carolina's guards use their quickness on that first step and get themselves into the paint.
And again, not just their quickness, but also their strength. You wouldn't look at Ian Jackson and say that he's one of the strongest guys out there, but his ability to handle the ball in tight quarters, get through contact. Him, Cadeau, RJ, Seth Trimble.
And I'll tell you something that will make you tough. It may not appear on the outside, but when you're one of 7 brothers, you got a little grit to you.
I can imagine. I only had one older brother, and if I had more than that, I know it'd have been a lot tougher.
Knocks those down. 4 in the game for the freshman. 3 the other way off the mark. White with 6 points leading the way, but cannot knock that down. And it has been ice cold for the Golden Bulls from beyond the arc. They were 4 of 8. They're now 4 of 14. They've missed their last 6.
I wonder if that is...
A great anticipation from Lubin. And he'll finish.
Great job from the big man there, denying the basketball on the inbound play, showing his athleticism.
Just 8 minutes on the court for Lubin, but he's got 7 points for the Tar Heels. Down low for White. And a nice touch there. He gets the roll.
White is having himself a great first half here against the Tar Heels.
He's got 8 to lead the way for the Golden Bulls. Good switch to the left. A little strong, though. Jackson can't finish. Bumbray. Trimble trips himself up, keeps dribble, though. Carolina will slow it down and get into the half court. There's Cadeau for 3. Lubin on the offensive glass, gets the putback. First, second chance points for Carolina.
Lubin has done a great job of just remaining active on the defensive end and the offensive end, finding ways to get his hands on the ball, as we see Drake Powell.
Powell with the steal and the flush.
Looked like he wanted to do something a little more with it, but decided just to make sure he got 2 in the basket.
Carolina has 12 points off 8 forced turnovers. Into the paint, and Lubin will come down with it. Trimble thought about slowing it up. Through traffic, finishes with the left hand.
Again, attacking the basket in transition with his ability to score at the rim. It's a great combination for this basketball team to play great defense and get out in transition.
Tar Heels on a 6-0 run over the last 47 seconds. Ends there, though, as White gets his 9th and 10th point of the game. No, gets it down low to Lubin, almost knocked away. Big man keeps his feet off the back iron, though. Kennedy through a couple, and he will draw the foul on Lubin. Carolina starting to get the defense going, and that's getting the transition offense going. Powell with the steal. Takes it all the way himself for the dunk. Entering his third season with Carolina, Seth Trimble got the start in this afternoon's game. It's paid off.
It certainly has. He has impacted the game in a lot of ways. You see him here scoring in transition, attacking the basket. Seth Trimble is going to be someone that this team leans on for leadership. And he's also going to be leaned on for someone to produce and to score like you've seen so far in this first half.
A perfect 5 for 5 from the floor. He's got a couple of rebounds, an assist, a steal, and that's kind of what Carolina has come to know is he's a stat stuffer. He's not going to do one superstar thing. He's going to just do a bunch of the little things.
And that's all this basketball team needs. There's so many different pieces that we're looking at here on the basketball court for North Carolina. And if everybody can do a couple of things very well, they'll be in great shape.
Javion Kennedy, the senior out of Concord, at the free throw line for Johnson C. Smith. Here we've talked a lot about where the rebounds are going to come from for North Carolina with Ingram and Bacot. It's not necessarily the bigs, though, especially in Carolina's offense. Like, I like Trimble and his athletic ability, the jump. You expect him to be pretty big on the backboards.
And I think in that same vein, let's talk about Drake Powell. You saw him skying for a rebound earlier this afternoon. I think he's another guy that can really be a big-time rebounder for this North Carolina basketball team.
Here's Washington with the stuff.
Great pass there by Elliot Cadeau off the bounce, right where Jalen Washington needed to finish at the rim.
Third assist in the first half for Cadeau. There's the freshman Powell. Carolina will set up. Washington, good positioning, able to pivot on that foot and get the lay-in. 6 in the game for Jalen.
Great to see him finding ways to score at the rim. Again, we talked about his ability to shoot the basketball. I think it's important for him to find ways to score at the rim.
4 of the 5 starters for the Tar Heels out there on the court: Cadeau, Tyson, Trimble, and Washington. Powell, the only bench player currently on the court. Well, same for Johnson C. Smith with Anderson, Kennedy, Sherrill, and Davis. They're joined by Hudson. Here is Hudson with Washington on him. Waves off the help, takes it all the way to the hoop, but can't finish. Fight for the offensive rebound, and a putback by Davis. He's got 7.
Great fight there by Jared Davis. Making it tough for Cade Tyson to box him out there.
Hubert Davis instructing Cadeau to get across half court. Let's call timeout. We're going to step aside with them. Carolina with a 23-point lead here in the first half. You might be asking, why take a timeout with a 20-plus point lead in 11 seconds before the half? But this is a great situation to draw something up where you might use it at the end of a game during the regular season.
Time and score is so important. Coach Williams did a great job of this, and I know his predecessors did as well. But just making sure you're ready for any type of situation that may occur throughout the season.
Cadeau around the screen. Great pass to Washington. That one is behind the buzzer. What a finish, though. Check out this from Cadeau. Couldn't even see Washington on the bounce pass. Four assists for Cadeau. Carolina shot 61% in the first half. Some hot shooting from Johnson C. Smith early in this one, had it tight, but Carolina settled in, got the defense going, and that started getting the offense going, and it really started with Elliot Cadeau starting to run things. Averaged 4 assists a game a season ago. He's already got 5 tonight.
Elliot Cadeau has already shown us in his first year playing in North Carolina that he has elite playmaking ability, great court vision. As you see here, this wraparound pass to Jalen Washington. Being able to share the ball the way that he can and getting his teammates in positions to score is going to be huge for this team moving forward.
ACC Player of the Year last season, doing exactly what you would expect an ACC Player of the Year to do. 11 points to lead the way for RJ Davis.
After that first couple of minutes, Kyle, there was no surprises. We saw all the things we expected to see. RJ Davis being aggressive offensively, also being able to facilitate the basketball as well. We know how important he's going to be this year and has a great opportunity to make history, honestly.
Carolina losing 2 of their 3 best three-point shooters from a season ago. Just 3 for 9, but they haven't had to shoot from beyond the arc. They've been able to dribble, penetrate, and get to the basket.
Exactly. Johnson C. Smith has not stopped them from getting to the basket. So there's no need for them to shoot that many threes tonight, but I'm sure a couple of these guys would love to get a couple threes under their belt tonight.
Davis, Tyson, Jackson, Lubin, Withers out there for Carolina. Anderson, Cooper, White, Sherrill, and Hudson for the Golden Bulls. Last tune-up for Carolina before their regular season starts. Johnson C. Smith, they've got one more. They'll take on Queens before their regular season gets underway. Whistle goes against RJ. For the Golden Bulls, White had a pretty good first half, 10 points for number 21 to lead the way offensively. Some good help defense there from Jackson. Cooper tried to create some separation. Carolina back the other way quickly. Jackson into some traffic, can't get it to go. He'll go back to the free throw line for his 3rd trip.
And Kyle, what we saw right there on that fast break, Ian Jackson in traffic, like you mentioned, able to still control the basketball, take the bump, and have a chance to score.
4 points in the first half for Jackson, 2 of them coming at the free throw line as he leaves that one a little bit short. Anthony Williams, the junior out of Richmond, checks in for the Golden Bulls. Jackson good on the second. Tar Heels have had 10 players see action today. 9 of them have scored already. It's been 11 who have gotten into the game for the Golden Bulls. Williams with Tyson on him. Baseline drive for Hudson, too much down low though. Withers there on the help defense.
Great help there from Withers. Ian Jackson gets beat on that closeout, but that's that team chemistry and that trust that you have to have for your teammate to be behind you helping.
Battle for the rebound. Jackson able to keep it alive. Davis looks to push the pace. Davis around a screen. Corner. Withers in and out. Good job by Tyson to keep it alive, and Withers a little closer, can't get it. Lubin does.
Lubin doing a great job of continuing to stay active.
11 in the game now for Lubin. Hesitation there from Anderson, nearly gave it away. Golden Bulls did a decent job in the first half of holding on to the ball, had 8 turnovers, and a bunch of them came in a 3 or 4 minute span. There's one as Jackson is out and running.
Classic North Carolina basketball right there, turning defense into offense, getting out in transition for the easy finish for Ian Jackson.
14 points off turnovers for Carolina is a nice finish up and under for Hudson. His first points of the game. Second 3 for Tyson though. Tyson, a big time shooter. Coming to Carolina through the transfer portal from Belmont. There's another turnover, back to the Tar Heels. You said vintage Carolina, creating chaos and getting out.
Second great outlet pass, Jalen Withers. A little scoop pass there, but was able to get it up ahead to Ian Jackson.
Jackson runs into some bodies, but finds Withers. Baseline drive, up and under on the reverse.
That's a beautiful up and under. I don't know if you all heard Coach Davis screaming, "Dunk it." But Jalen Withers was still able to scoop it up and in.
5 for Withers. Williams a little bit strong. Tar Heels running again. Jackson heard Coach Davis.
Wow. He just jumped out of his shoe.
Literally jumped out of his shoe and got everybody out of their seats. John Morant-esque.
You know, you talk about toughness. There's a young man that was not afraid of anything right there, looking to posterize Javon Anderson, and nearly did.
Jackson go back to the free throw line, still getting that shoe readjusted. Elliot Cadeau can't believe himself over on the bench.
I'm still in shock myself, Kyle, as is most people in the Dean Smith Center tonight. Most importantly, Kyle, just glad to see that he's okay. Both of those players.
Jackson makes good on the first one. If this isn't a warning to the country, hey, if the freshman Jackson is out and running, get out the way.
It's not an easy decision to stay in there, and I'll commend Javon Anderson for staying in there and trying to get that charge. But not a lot of guys are going to do that.
2 for 2 this time, and Jackson with 9 points in the game is 5 for 7 from the free throw line. Three for Anderson, and that's the first one since they were 4 for 8. They had gone 0 for their last 8 from beyond the arc.
Banks talked about Javon Anderson being a leader of this team, being a winner, and expecting a big year out of him.
Davis trapped, has it knocked away, keeps possession. Shot clock down to 12. Withers with a baseline drive. Deep three from Davis. RJ is off the mark. Carolina 4 for 13 from beyond the arc tonight. Jackson gonna swipe that one away. Nobody in his path this time.
I don't know what to say about that, Mr. Straub, but that is an incredible display of athleticism from the youngster.
Here he goes again, and he's gonna be pulled at midcourt. Smart foul from Williams. He said, I don't need to see a second windmill. May have brought the house down. The freshman Jackson showing off here. North Carolina has had a lot of elite dunkers throughout their history. Ian Jackson might become one of them by the time his time here in Chapel Hill is done.
And Kyle, I think he's already put his name on that list after watching that windmill on the fast break right there. Head clearly above the rim.
Just a couple moments after he tried to put somebody on a poster and didn't do it, able to run out, and you see there 11 points, 9 of them coming here in this second half.
Ian Jackson is going to be a name that we'll say more and more throughout this season, as he's making his name known this afternoon.
Out of the timeout, Carolina going to go with Cadeau, Davis, Trimble, Powell, and Washington. Anderson, William, Kennedy, White, and Davis for the Golden Bulls. Cadeau takes the inbound, get Carolina into the half court. 4 Tar Heels, double figures scoring. Trimble will go to the free throw line. Draws the foul there. Davis and Trimble, 2 of those with double figures, 11 for Davis, 10 for Seth. Jackson and Lubin on the bench with 11 apiece.
And Jalen Washington and Cade Tyson knocking on the door, scoring double figures as well, both with 8. It's a great show of how this team can do it by committee.
And I'm sure it causes a little bit of a problem for the coaching staff, but one that they want, which is, hey, nobody has stood out, but nobody has fallen back. Everybody has done what they've been asked for when they're on the floor.
I think you're 100% correct. That is not a problem per se. You want guys to be competing for playing time. You want that decision to be tough as a coach.
A little bit short, but Washington with the offensive rebound and the putback. Sixth offensive board for Carolina. Williams into the paint, going to draw the foul on Cadeau. first foul against Cadeau, and that was something as a freshman he ran into some problems with last year.
And I think that Coach Davis was alluding to this when he talked about him understanding the game now and knowing that now he's got one foul, knows how the game's getting called, maybe to back off.
Tar Heels running away with this one here in Chapel Hill. It's been a lot of even production for North Carolina, but leading the way are your two veterans, the two you would hope are leading the way in Davis and Trimble.
We talked about them from a leadership perspective. We also talked about them from a production standpoint. And both of them are doing all the things that we expected them to. Seth Trimble continuing on his great offensive performance from Memphis, where he had 33 points, but tonight just continuing to show all the different ways that he can score the basketball.
And how nice is it in an era where you're a freshman and you come in and you're expected to produce right away, or if you don't play right away, you transfer somewhere else, and now you get your opportunity. It's the old school route that Trimble has gone now in his third season and progressed within Carolina.
And I think the old school route has produced a lot of great players. and when you come to North Carolina and you play with a group like this, every day you're getting challenged. Iron sharpens iron. And then you're able to show out in your third year.
Cadeau getting to the basket and finishing with the finger roll. Golden Bulls right back the other way, though. And an easy basket for Davis. He's got 9. Carolina running. Lob just a little too high for Trimble. Keeps possession.
Got a lot of athleticism on display this afternoon.
Corner, Powell looking for a 3. Washington tracks down the rebound. It gets knocked away, though. Nice bounce pass in transition to White. Carolina out and running again. Cadeau is blocked. Spin move looking to finish, and he does.
Didn't get it to go the first time, but was able to stay with it. Get a good finish at the rim.
9 points for Cadeau. We mentioned he has 5 assists. He also doesn't have a turnover.
I think that is really one of the most important stats there. No turnover, being able to run the offense, handle the ball, but take care of the basketball as well.
Davis saw a lane, turned on the afterburner. Back to Cadeau for a moment, though. Last season, 2.2 was the assist to turnover ratio. Not bad, but you want to see that up above 3 now in his sophomore season.
Just part of his growth as a player, part of his maturation process of just knowing when to make the play, when not to, and how to get it there without turning it over.
Team's really starting to get out and run here. And part of that, I think, has got to be the endurance, right? You're not built up. You're going to start getting a little tired here.
Well, Kyle, when you're looking at these two huddles right now, you got a lot of guys, Johnson C. Smith with their hands on their knees, kind of holding each other up. And I think these North Carolina Tar Heels are just in better shape. Obviously, the rotation plays a big part in that as well. I think they're just wearing them down.
When you played, there were some infamous times and distances and different kind of endurance tests that Coach Williams had you guys go through. Have you heard? Has that carried over? Is that still the case under Coach Davis?
There are some that I've definitely heard of that are still the case. I'm not 100% sure what they're all doing, but I know they're still running the mile. I know they're still doing the 12-minute run on the first day of class, which is a day that you're normally super excited about coming to school, but that 6 a.m. 12-minute run is never fun. But these guys are always going to be in great shape, and that's going to help them win basketball games.
Do you have a favorite or maybe a not favorite that still you hear that, hey, this drill, and you get nightmares?
33s. Down and back 3 times in 33 seconds. And one of the things we did for our conditioning test was to do that 12 times. Still gets me sick to my stomach thinking about it.
A couple of subs for both sides. Cooper in there, brings it across midcourt, hands it off for Bates. First time he's been in the game. Tyson guarding Cooper. Nearly a steal there for Powell, but the 3 going to be knocked down. Sherrill with 9 in the game. That's his second triple. Good vision from Trimble. found Brown, who was the last player left that has gotten into the game for Carolina that needed to score. And he'll go to the line for 3.
Great pass here by Seth Trimble. Great finish through contact for James Brown. But look at the bench. And look at everybody run over to pick James Brown up off the floor. That's what Coach Davis was talking about with this team chemistry.
6'10", 215-pound freshman for Carolina out of Aurora, Illinois, finishes off the 3-point play. Powell guarding Cooper, forces him to pick up the dribble. Got caught on the baseline and just threw that one away. Bates almost committing the 13th turnover. It's been one stat that I can guarantee you the Carolina staff is going to be happy to see. Just 3 total turnovers as a team in the game.
Taking care of the basketball is one of the most important things, right? You need to have possession of the basketball in order to score the basketball. So you talked about Elliot Cadeau doing a better job of keeping a handle on that ball. But as a team, that's a great stat to have this time in the game.
Back-to-back threes as Sherrill knocks down another. Team high 12 in the game. Cadeau tied up on the baseline. And the foul going to be called. It'll be Carolina ball when we come back. Tar Heels in control in the exhibition. The ACC got a little bit bigger in the offseason, now 18 teams, but that hasn't changed expectations here in Chapel Hill. Tar Heels picked to finish 2nd in the preseason poll, and how about 3 North Carolina teams in the top 3 spots?
Love to see that. Love to see that. Reminds me of the days watching the ACC when I was growing up. No surprise here as you're looking at these ACC standings outside of having SMU and Cal and Stanford in there, like you mentioned. But I think it's going to be a slugfest this season. A lot of people always talk about the ACC and not being that great. I think this is going to be different.
Now, you can be honest. Do you truly love seeing Duke at the top of that, or is it just the North Carolina part?
I love the North Carolina teams being up there, and I love us being in a position to take out Duke.
Will always be fun when those two get together. And obviously, like last year, you anticipate the winner of those, the one who comes away with the conference crown. Cadeau at the free throw line here for Carolina. 1 for 1 so far from the charity stripe. Leaves that one a little bit short. Cadeau wasn't the greatest free throw shooter last year, just 65% on the season.
For somebody that's going to be attacking the basket the way that he is, that's something that's going to need to improve if he wants to be the most effective out there on the basketball court.
Cooper able to get into the paint and draw the foul. They're going to say that was a shot. Looked like he was passing it out, but they'll send him to the free throw line for 2. Just 10 minutes for Cooper, but 5 points to go along with 3 assists. Antoine Banks told us before the game, just want to play within our system. We'll take away some good things if we can. I think they can go back and look at the first 10 minutes of this game and take away a lot of good things for their season.
There's certainly some things they can be proud of this afternoon. I think they've all played very hard. They've competed. Did not shoot the ball well after that first 10 minutes, but I thought they got great shots there. Attacking the backboards. I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're trying to do in terms of execution, but looks like they're getting some good shots here and there.
Bates back on the floor for the Golden Bulls as Trimble gets into traffic. Whistle going to come, a foul on the floor. Eighth foul against Johnson C. Smith. That'll send Trimble to the free throw line. As a team, Carolina 19 for 24 from the charity stripe this afternoon. And to your point, not just Cadeau, but so many guards that are going to be getting to the basket. It's going to be a big part of Carolina's game.
Definitely. Right now, they're showing that they're doing a great job of converting on the free throw line. Has not always been the case for some of these guys out there, but right now they're looking pretty good. Right at 80%.
Trimble makes it 3 of 4 for the game. And that gives him 13 points, team high. Powell through the screen, gonna get called for the push though. Got into the body of Cooper. That'll be the 5th against the Tar Heels as Jalen Withers checks back in. Takeaway by Trimble. He's got some hops himself.
Seth Trimble cleared for takeoff here in the second half. I'm sure he's excited to get there and get above the rim like some of his other teammates this afternoon.
Just saw him shaking his hand. He literally hit his forearm on the rim. He was so high. Cooper working against Tyson. Draws the contact and will go back to the free throw line. Eighth steal of the game for Carolina.
Great anticipation. I Seth Trimble out on the inbounds play there. And we all knew what we were going to see happen at the end of that.
15 points and a perfect 6 for 6 from the field. But I don't think he's taken a shot that's been more than 5 feet away from the rim.
He hasn't. And great for him. He hadn't had to. He's done a great job of getting to the basket, getting easy buckets. That's the best way to play.
Cooper finishes off the second. He's got 8 in the game. Brown, Tyson, Trimble, Jackson, Withers. Here's Tyson into the paint. Can't finish, gets his own rebound, and will be fouled.
You know, we talk about Cade Tyson as a shooter, but I've been surprised so far this preseason to see how often he does get to the basket like we just saw there.
8 points in the game for Tyson. He's knocked down a couple of threes. He's also perfect 2 for 2 at the free throw line. Belmont transfer makes it a perfect 4 for 4 this afternoon. He's the 6th Tar Heel, double figures for scoring. Bates looking for an opening. Trimble hounding him. Trimble knocks it away. Picking it up is White, and he'll finish. White continues to have a nice game for the Golden Bulls. He's got a dozen. Brown with a little screen. Trimble tries the 3, can't get it to go though. Cooper with 8, tries a deep 3, comes up with nothing, and it'll go back to the Tar Heels.
Interesting with this lineup as well, Kyle, to see Withers, Cade Tyson out on the perimeter guarding some of these guards. Johnson C. Smith, we talked about how this variety of different lineups could be a positive for North Carolina. We're going to need some of those guys to defend on the perimeter.
Lubin comes back in for Brown, who got a good round of applause from the folks on hand here. Trimble working against Bates. Has it knocked away. Lubin picks it up. Loose ball. Jackson will reset, 10 on the clock. He loses his footing and loses the ball as well. Just the 4th Tar Heel turnover this afternoon. 3 from Bates is short. Both teams going cold from the floor here over the last minute and a half. Withers sees an opening. Has it knocked away by Bates as he commits the foul. Third against Bates. The 10th against Johnson C. Smith. So Withers to the line for 2. First time for Withers at the charity stripe. A season ago, a 78% free throw shooter. makes good on the first.
Great position for North Carolina to be in right now with 5 minutes to go, and you're in the bonus. Put a lot of pressure on Johnson C. Smith, causing a lot of fouls. Gets them to the charity stripe for some easy baskets for the rest of the game.
Tyson almost came up with the offensive rebound. Bates looks like he stepped on the sideline. Dropped that foot back and a little bit too far. It'll go back to Carolina. This is the point in an exhibition where score is completely out of hand. Players, though, need to find a way to stay focused because that's something the coaches are really going to key on.
I think that Ian Jackson showing there he's still focused, attacking the basket, getting the score with the contact and the foul. You're right.
13 for Jackson, and you heard him say in that halftime segment, if you stuck around, there's a lot of competition in the backcourt. Constantly feel like you've got to get better.
And to your point, staying focused at the end of a game, no matter what's going on with the score, is something that these coaches are going to want to look at.
Make it 14 in the game for Jackson. Carolina 25 for 31 from the free throw line, compared to just 5 of 7 for the Golden Bulls.
Well, you know, Kyle, playing for Coach Williams, he always wanted to make more free throws than the other team attempted. I think North Carolina Tar Heels are well ahead of that category.
Johnson tried the bounce pass to Withers, knocked away. Going to take it coast to coast is Sherrill. Whistle going to come, and they will count the basket.
You know, you talked about Johnson C. Smith being able to walk out of here this afternoon with their heads up high and some good things to take home with them. I think we've seen some great performances by Sherrill and also White. Done a great job of making their presence felt today.
Sherrill a little bit off the mark on that one. Cadeau with Powell, Jackson, Lubin, and Withers for Carolina. Final tune-up for the Tar Heels. Played Memphis in an exhibition. Johnson C. Smith, in part because Coach Davis, his parents met while they were students at Johnson C. Smith. And his dad was a player there from 65 to 69. Remember a couple of years ago, you and I did this same exhibition. And it was Hubert's, I think it was his first year as head coach, and he talked about how much it meant to be able to play his parents' alma mater. Good ball movement from Carolina. Jackson passes up the 3 to get into the paint. And the blocking call is going to send him to the free throw line when we come back. Tar Heels on the cusp of the century mark in their final tune-up here for the 24 season. Freshman Ian Jackson has announced his presence to the Carolina faithful here in this exhibition, and he's done it in a very loud way, Marcus.
Very much so. You see this emphatic Showtime dunk here, the windmill in transition. But I think he's just done a great job of attacking the basket, scoring through contact. Looks mostly under control out there. Obviously, he's going to have some of those freshman moments like we just watched where maybe he should have taken the 3, but he's done a great job asserting himself so far this afternoon.
You talk about attacking the basket. Carolina has gotten to the free throw line a ton. Nobody more than Jackson, who's actually going to be there now coming out of the timeout for his 5th time.
I mean, again, when you think about this globally, you look at the guards for North Carolina, they're elite. And Ian Jackson is a part of that reason, a big part of that reason why you can say that.
This day in basketball, I feel like you hear guard play and elite and you immediately think they're three-point shooters. But how big is it to not rely on just the 3, because you can have off shooting guys, the ability to get to the hoop.
Well, we've all heard, you know, you live and die by the 3. I never think about it that way. I'm thinking about it as how do you get to the paint? And that's not just scoring. That's getting to the paint and creating for others, getting to the paint, drawing fouls. And Ian Jackson does all those things.
Is that something you think can become a big factor for Carolina, say in a matchup where they've got to go against a true big, a true 5, get them in foul trouble?
Definitely. And we've seen this afternoon that we have guards that not only can get into the paint, but can finish through contact while drawing those fouls. I think that's a great opportunity for them to be able to put other people in trouble.
You saw the highlights from Jackson, the explosive athleticism. There's a little touch as he knocks down a three. The 5th Carolina triple this afternoon. Also gives Jackson 19 in the game, which is a team high. Powell and Jackson, the 2 freshmen. Powell with the flush.
The freshman connection is alive and well. Drake Powell joining the party.
Elliot Cadeau enjoys what he's seeing. Says, hey, I'm the one who dishes out those passes. Step back baseline jumper off the mark. Cadeau almost has it knocked away. Able to keep his feet as Hudson showed some good effort there. 10 on the shot clock for Carolina. Almost the same spot for Jackson. Powell comes away with the loose ball rebound. Cadeau straight away.
Cadeau
12 in the game for Cadeau.
No hesitation, showing that he's been working on that three-point shot.
He doesn't have to be an elite shooter. Just show that you can make the open shot, and they won't have teams laying off him like we saw in the NCAA tournament last year.
Agreed. I don't think it's a matter of him coming down the court and shooting threes off the dribble. I think those are the types of threes that we saw right there that he needs to knock down at a reasonable rate, make teams keep the other defense honest.
Oh, Cadeau with great vision finds Lubin for the jam.
It's turned into a dunk party here in Chapel Hill.
7 assists for Cadeau. Nice pass and a run from Sherrill right down the gut. Gets the two-handed jam. Carolina defense got caught sleeping there.
Great pass by Orlando Hudson there, threading the needle.
Another lob. This time it's for Washington.
And I'm looking at the court here, Kyle. I think Elliott's now the only one that hasn't been above the rim.
Baseline drive and a kick out. Carolina defense stays home, but Powell going to be called for the foul on the floor. Elliot Cadeau showing the vision, unselfish, and handing it off to his teammates. First it was Lubin, then it was Washington. One of the keys to being an elite program, you got to defend your home court. Last season, Carolina was 14-1 in the Dean Smith Center. They'll have another tough slate, but it's a tough spot for teams to come in.
Now, when you look at this schedule, it looks like it's definitely getting a little tougher as you get through the year. But, you know, we talked about some of the other non-conference tests that they're going to have early in the year. But you said it right. They have to protect home court, and they're going to have a challenge.
December 7th, their first home ACC game. They'll open the regular season on the 4th with the Elon Phoenix in town. Bumbre at the free throw line for Johnson C. Smith. Looking for his first points of the game, has that one rattle in and out. Lubin with his 10th rebound has a double-double. We talked in that break a little bit, Marcus, about team rebounding. Is Lubin going to try for three and knocks it down?
Well, he wants to make sure that we all know that he can knock that down and he can score in a variety of ways.
He's got 18 in the game. But back to the rebounding conversation we had, he's got 10. Powell's got 7. Washington has 7. Withers has 8. You don't have Mr. Double-Double anymore. You just have everybody contributing.
If you got everybody attacking the glass like that, there's no need for that one Mr. Double-Double all the time. I think that's a great effort that North Carolina is showing here to make sure that that's something that's important to them.
Jackson has it knocked away. Hawkins in the game for the first time for Carolina. Elbow jumper spins in and out. Davis couldn't get it. Russell Hawkins, the sophomore out of Charlotte. Jackson down the lane, finishes off the glass. 21 for the freshman.
Talked about how it's going to be difficult for the coaching staff to figure out what guards they're going to put there on the court. And Jackson making his case for his name to be in the mix.
And it's been an efficient 21. 6 of 10 from the field, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. A little Euro step. Hawkins is going to go to the free throw line. Dante Mayo Jr. waiting at the table to check in. John Holbrook as well for Carolina. 2 for Hawkins as he knocks down the first. Lubin and Jackson will go to the bench. Good round of applause from the Carolina faithful. 21 for Jackson, 18 and 12 for Lubin. Hawkins makes the second. He's made free throw number 29 and 35 chances for Carolina.
Just under 83%. That is a percentage that's going to treat you well throughout the season.
Cooper bullying his way down low, can't finish though. Hawkins pushes ahead to Powell. Brown, Powell, Hawkins, Holbrook, and Mayo for Carolina. Powell going to finish with the offhand. He's got 8. Sherrill leaves it for Bates. Bates to the left hand into the paint. Can't finish though. Powell with a no-look pass through some traffic, and Brown finishes.
And Drake Powell with a big smile coming down the court. Again, just showing all the different ways that he adds to this basketball team.
8 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists for Powell.
Pretty good stat line for a freshman.
Carolina big rewarded for running the floor. An easy bucket for Brown. He's got 5 for the Tar Heels.
And only 5 points, but again, I think James Brown does a lot of great little things out there, whether it's setting screens, getting to the basket, finishing at the basket.
And he's got those 5 points in just 9 minutes on the floor. Holbrook battling for the rebound. Foul going to go against the Golden Bulls, and that'll send Holbrook to the free throw line. Freshman out of Hickory.
Another important thing to watch here, Kyle, is the North Carolina bench and how excited they are for all their teammates to score.
I'm glad you brought up the bench points, because as that one goes in, there are 61 bench points scored for Carolina.
I don't know what to say about that, Kyle. That's pretty unbelievable.
All 5 starters were in double figures, but you still got 61 off the bench. Here's Anderson the other way. Final minute of this one as Anderson takes the deep 3, knocks it down for his second triple. Gives him 6 points in the game. Pass from Mayo Jr. knocked away. Powell!
Oh my goodness.
Blasts him with 2 hands. Holbrook flushes it. elbow jumper good for Williams. Powell, though, gets his crowd to their feet one more time. Mayo Jr. will run out the clock. 127-63. And for the newcomers, wow, is there a lot of excitement going into this season?
I think this is just a great sign for this North Carolina basketball team. What is possible?
Carolina shoots 63% from the field. Take another look at this.
Now,
Michael Jordan from the Wizards.
Cal, that's the second time that I've seen that in 2 weeks from Drake Powell.
A dunk on the other end to put the exclamation point on it. And how about the Carolina bench?
That's the most important thing for me right there.
Jalen Withers.
The Carolina bench going crazy.
Smiles all around in Chapel Hill as the Tar Heels finish off their exhibition season 127-63 over Johnson C. Smith. Marcus, your final thought?
Final thought is no surprises here. North Carolina does what they want to do. They want to push the tempo. They want to score inside. They want to do it with a lot of different people. Great job by them tonight.
No Armando Bacot, no Harrison Ingram, no Cormac Ryan. A lot of new names that are going to be making a name for themselves for the Tar Heels here in 24-25. They start the season on the 4th. Until then, we say so long from Chapel Hill. For Marcus Ginyard, I'm Kyle Stroud. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.